The cosmic misunderstanding. In the vast expanse of the Orion Arm, Earth had been just another dot in the cosmic ocean until 50 years ago. The discovery of humanity by the Galactic Consortium had been unremarkable, a Class 3 civilization barely capable of interstellar travel, inhabiting what many species classified as a death world. The irony wasn't lost on humans. Their homeworld, teeming with biodiversity that would be considered lethal on most garden worlds, had forged them into something unique. Ambassador Elena Chen stood before the consortium's Grand Assembly for the third time this cycle, maintaining her diplomatic smile, while 16 alien representatives discussed Earth's petition for mining rights in the unclaimed Kuiper Belt beyond Neptune. The Exorathi representative, a 12-foot arthropod with gleaming obsidian exoskeleton, clicked his mandibles in what Elena had come to recognize as condescension. The humans request yet another concession, the Exorathi diplomat announced, voice translator converting his chittering into the standard galactic tongue. Their technology cannot even properly harvest these resources. Why should we allocate valuable space to species that lacks the fundamental capacity to utilize it efficiently? The Volari ambassador, a gelatinous being housed in an environmental suit, pulsed with bioluminescent patterns of amusement. Perhaps we should simply help them. Take the system under Volari protection. They clearly need guidance. Elena cleared her throat, the small sound somehow silencing the cavernous chamber. The United Earth Coalition appreciates your concern, but we respectfully decline any protective arrangements. We simply request recognition of our legal claim to resources within our own system. And if we deny this claim, the Exorathi challenged. Elena's smile remained unchanged, but something in her eyes shifted. Then we would be very disappointed. Please don't make us mad. The chamber erupted in the various expressions of amusement across 17 different species. The Drovani ambassador, a being composed of crystalline structures, vibrated in what passed for laughter among his kind. The human employs the same phrase again, the Drovani observed, curious how they always resort to this veiled non-threat. High Admiral Kravix of the Vanguard Alliance watched the proceedings from his private chamber aboard the supercarrier Inevitable Dominion. The reptilian commander's scales shifted from emerald to a deep crimson, a sign of irritation among the Vanguard species. They'd mock us, he hissed to his second-in-command. 50 standard cycles, and still the humans are permitted to speak as equals despite contributing nothing to the consortium. Commander Zex, a fellow Vanguard with battle scars running down his snout, nodded. The council grows soft. The humans have been allowed their independence far too long while more deserving species pledge fealty for protection. The Grand Assembly concluded with a provisional approval of Earth's petition, a political gesture rather than one of respect. Elena Chen thanked the Assembly with practiced grace before departing for the journey home. Kravix switched off the transmission. Prepare a battle group. It's time someone taught the humans their proper place in the cosmic hierarchy. The Council hasn't authorized military action. Zex noted, though his tone suggested this was merely a procedural observation rather than a moral objection. We won't need authorization once we demonstrate human weakness, Kravix replied. The Council will thank us for bringing such a strategically located system under proper control. Besides, he added with a reptilian approximation of a smile, we're simply offering them the protection they so clearly need. 3 standard weeks later, the Vanguard battle group emerged from hyperspace at the edges of the Sol system. 27 warships, led by the Inevitable Dominion, represented enough firepower to subjugate worlds 3 times Earth's size. Their bioorganic ships, grown rather than built, resembled massive predatory creatures frozen in metal and composite materials, an intimidating sight designed to inspire fear. Curious, Commander Zex noted as they approached the outer planets. No defense fleet, only automated resource harvesters and communication relays. As expected, Kravix replied. Their military capabilities are negligible. Maximum of 30 outdated vessels, according to intelligence. As they approached Mars orbit, A transmission cut through their communication systems without authorization. A human face appeared on the main screen. A middle-aged man with dark skin and graying hair at the temples, wearing a simple gray uniform without ornamentation. Vanguard Fleet, this is Admiral Thomas Pierce of Earth Defense Command. You are entering restricted space with what appears to be military intent. We ask you to state your purpose or withdraw immediately. Kravix straightened to his full 9-foot height. I am High Admiral Kravix of the Vanguard Alliance. We are here to establish a protective presence in the Sol system. Your world will benefit from our supervision and defense. Admiral Pierce's expression remained neutral. Earth does not require or desire protection. We formally request your immediate withdrawal from Sol space. Your desires are noted but irrelevant, Kravix replied. Prepare to receive our emissaries. They will explain the terms of your new protectorate status. A pause. High Admiral, I urge you to reconsider. Please don't make us mad. That phrase again. The same words the humans always used, like some ritualistic incantation. Kravix felt his crest rise in irritation. Your catchphrase grows tiresome. Prepare to be boarded, or we will demonstrate what true military power looks like. The transmission ended, and Kravix turned to his weapons officer. Target their orbital platforms with precision strikes. Disable, don't destroy. We want their infrastructure intact. The inevitable Dominion surged forward, its massive form cutting through space with predatory grace. Behind it, the battle group formed into attack formation, weapon systems charging. Weapons locked. Admiral, the tactical officer reported. Fire. Energy weapons lanced out from multiple ships, targeting Earth's orbital stations. Each beam traveled true, then vanished microseconds before impact. Report, Kravix demanded. Unknown energy field intercepted all strikes. The tactical officer replied, confusion evident in his voice. No registered technology should be capable of. Multiple anomalies detected. The sensor officer interrupted. Spatial distortions forming around Earth. Where there had been empty space moments before, hundreds of ripples appeared like tears in the fabric of reality. From each emerged what could only be described as ships, though unlike any vessel Kravix had encountered in 3 centuries of service. They were sleek, almost organic in design, but with none of the biological components the Vanguard prided themselves on. Instead, they seemed to exist partially outside normal space, their edges blurring as if they weren't fully committed to a single dimension. Impossible, breathed Commander Zex. Such technology would require mastery of quantum fields beyond theoretical limits. Another transmission cut through their systems. Admiral Pierce appeared again, his expression now tinged with regret. We did warn you, he said simply. Humanity's classified as Class 3 because we chose that designation, not because it's accurate. We discovered long ago that appearing harmless has strategic advantages. This deception will not save you, Kravix snarled. All ships, full attack pattern. Show them what happens to those who hide behind tricks and illusions. The Vanguard fleet opened fire with their full arsenal. Planet killer missiles, gravitic distortion beams, and molecular disruptors. Enough firepower to reduce a world to slag, streaked toward both Earth and the mysterious vessels. None reached their targets. The human ships, if they could even be called that, didn't evade. They simply adjusted reality around them. Weapons that should have annihilated them, instead found themselves passing through empty space, their trajectories bent by forces Kravix couldn't comprehend. How is this possible? He demanded. No species should have this level of technological advancement. Admiral Pierce's voice was calm. You see us as newcomers to the galactic stage. But Earth is old, Admiral. Humanity survived ice ages, asteroids, plagues, and our own self-destructive tendencies. We mastered fusion while your ancestors were still tribal. We solved quantum entanglement while the Exarethi were learning metallurgy. Then why hide? Kravix asked, genuine confusion replacing his anger. Why maintain this facade of weakness? Because we discovered something terrible about the universe, Pierce replied. Most intelligent species are fundamentally warlike until they nearly destroy themselves. We did the same, fought 3 world wars before learning better. But when we reached for the stars, we realized that revealing our true capabilities would only accelerate the militarization of the galaxy. So we chose to appear unthreatening, hoping to influence through example rather than fear. As he spoke, several Vanguard ships attempted to retreat into hyperspace. Their engines flared briefly, then died as localized reality shifted around them, preventing escape. "Return our ships to normal space," Kravix demanded. "They are in normal space," Pierce explained. "We've simply adjusted the quantum probability field around them to make hyperspace temporarily inaccessible. No permanent damage, I assure you." On the main screen, tactical displays showed dozens of human ships surrounding the Vanguard fleet, moving with impossible precision. "What do you want?" Kravix finally asked, centuries of military confidence evaporating in minutes. "The same thing we've always wanted," Pierce answered. "To be left in peace, to develop at our own pace without interference, to be treated as equals in the consortium, no more, no less." Commander Zex stepped forward. "We cannot simply retreat. The Vanguard Alliance has never surrendered." Pierce nodded. "We're not asking for surrender, just understanding. Your fleet will be allowed to depart intact once we've established certain boundaries." "And if we refuse?" Kravix challenged, though the question lacked his earlier confidence. For the first time, Admiral Pierce smiled, but the expression held no warmth. "Please don't make us mad, Admiral. You wouldn't like us when we're mad." As if to emphasize the point, one of the human vessels approached the smallest Vanguard cruiser. There was no visible weapon discharge, no energy reading. The ship simply began to deconstruct. Its component atoms gently pulled apart and reassembled into basic elements that hung in space like a glittering cloud. "That vessel was unmanned," Pierce noted. "A demonstration only. We can reconstruct it if you wish." Kravix stared at the cloud of perfectly separated elements that had, moments ago, been a warship representing the pinnacle of Vanguard engineering. In that moment, he understood why humans always asked politely before anything else. It wasn't weakness. It was restraint. The revelation of Terran might. News of the Vanguard Alliance's failed incursion spread through the Galactic Consortium with unprecedented speed. The quantum-encrypted recordings from the inevitable Dominion had been transmitted to Vanguard High Command before communications were temporarily suspended by the human defense forces. Within hours, emergency sessions convened across 17 major worlds. In the Grand Assembly chamber that had hosted Elena Chen just weeks earlier, representatives now gathered in a state of collective shock. The Exarathi ambassador's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation as holographic projections that displayed the impossible human ships and their reality-bending capabilities. "This cannot be authentic," the Drovani representative insisted, crystalline structures vibrating in distress. "No species hides Class 1 technology behind a Class 3 facade. It defies all strategic logic." The Valeri ambassador pulsed with patterns indicating extreme caution. "The verification protocols confirm these recordings are unaltered. The humans have deceived us all." Ambassador Lorith of the Atheni, a species known for their longevity and philosophical outlook, raised a 6-fingered hand. Unlike the others, the ancient diplomat seemed more curious than alarmed. "Perhaps we should consider why they chose deception over dominance," Lorith suggested, voice melodic despite the tension. "A species capable of manipulating quantum fields at will could have dictated terms to the consortium at any time." Before further discussion could unfold, a notification chimed throughout the chamber. A transmission from Earth requested immediate audience with the full assembly. After brief deliberation, the request was granted. Ambassador Elena Chen appeared before them, her expression solemn rather than bearing her usual diplomatic smile. "Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Consortium," she began, I come before you today with sincere regret for the circumstances that have necessitated this revelation. Earth had hoped to gradually integrate our true capabilities into galactic knowledge over centuries, not days. You lied to the consortium, the Exarathi representative accused. Deliberately undermined classification protocols while accessing privileged information about other species. Elena nodded. We presented an incomplete picture of our technological development, yes. A decision made unanimously by Earth's nations 4 decades ago, when we first detected your scout ships in our outer system. Our analysts predicted a 78% probability that full disclosure of our capabilities would trigger an immediate military response from multiple powers. Murmurs rippled through the chamber as representatives consulted with their aides. The prediction was uncomfortably accurate. The Vanguard Alliance has submitted formal protest, the Assembly moderator announced. High Admiral Kravix claims illegal technology was used against his fleet. No laws were broken, Elena replied calmly. The consortium's technology restriction accords apply only to weapons of mass destruction and biological agents. Quantum field manipulation is not listed in any prohibition. Because such technology was deemed theoretically impossible, the Volari ambassador pulsed indignantly. Elena's expression remained measured. Many things once thought impossible simply await the right perspective, Ambassador. Behind her diplomatic station, holographic projections activated, displaying a detailed historical timeline of human technological development. Humanity's path was different from most spacefaring species, she explained. While others focused on conventional propulsion and weaponry, Earth's scientists became obsessed with the fundamental nature of reality itself. Our quantum breakthrough came not from trying to build better ships or weapons, but from trying to understand the fabric of existence. The timeline showed key developments: quantum entanglement communications in the early 21st century, the unified field theory discovery in the mid-21st, and the first successful manipulation of localized reality in the late 21st. By the time we achieved practical interstellar travel, we had already mastered principles that your civilizations approached from entirely different angles, Elena continued. We discovered that reality is, fundamentally, a matter of probability and perspective. In the depths of space, the standoff between the Vanguard fleet and Earth's defense forces continued. Admiral Pierce maintained position around the immobilized alien ships, waiting for diplomatic resolution rather than forcing surrender. Aboard the inevitable Dominion, High Admiral Kravix prowled the command deck, scales shifting between colors as he struggled with humiliation and fascination. How did we miss this? He demanded of his intelligence officer. Decades of surveillance, and nothing suggested capabilities beyond standard Class 3 parameters. The intelligence officer, a slender Vanguard female named Sivera, displayed multiple holographic reports. They compartmentalized everything, Admiral. Their visible space program used conventional drives. Their communications employed standard encryption. Their energy consumption matched expected levels for their development stage. Deception at a planetary scale, Commander Zex marveled. Their entire species maintained this facade. Not deception, came Admiral Pierce's voice as his hologram appeared on the command deck, a technological intrusion that should have been impossible through Vanguard security protocols. Strategic patience. There's a difference. Kravix bristled. You monitor our private conversations now. Only because you're still planning counterattacks, Pierce replied. Your tactical officers have proposed 7 different strategies in the past hour. None would succeed, but all would result in unnecessary casualties. The accuracy of this assessment silenced the Vanguard officers momentarily. What happens now? Kravix finally asked. Now we wait, Pierce answered. Your leadership and ours are negotiating terms that will preserve dignity for all involved. In the meantime, we've taken the liberty of providing entertainment feeds to your crews. Your soldiers are growing restless. You've hacked our internal systems too. Kravix was incredulous. Pierce's hologram shrugged. Your encryption was outdated by our standards. We thought you might enjoy some Earth cultural transmissions while we wait, Many species find our fiction concept interesting. Back in the Grand Assembly, debate had given way to practical considerations. The reality of human technological supremacy was impossible to ignore, yet their restraint in using it was equally noteworthy. What are Earth's demands? The moderator finally asked. Surely with such power, you intend to reshape the consortium structure. Elena shook her head. Earth has no demands beyond those we've already presented. Fair treatment, respect for our sovereignty, and recognition of our legal claims within our own system. That's all. The Drovani representative's crystalline form trembled in disbelief. We've studied your histories, Elena explained. Every galactic empire that has risen through force has eventually collapsed through resistance. We have no interest in empire building or domination. Earth seeks partnership, not subjects. Why reveal yourselves now? Asked Ambassador Lorith. You could have continued this masquerade indefinitely. Elena's expression softened, because relationships built on lies eventually crumble. The Vanguard incident forced our hand, but many of us have advocated for gradual disclosure for years. We want genuine allies, not intimidated neighbors. The Assembly called for recess, allowing representatives to consult with their governments. As diplomats filed out, Ambassador Lorith approached Elena privately. You realize the galaxy will never look at humanity the same way again. The ancient Athene observed. We know, Elena acknowledged. But perhaps that's necessary progress. The fear of the unknown often drives conflict. And what happens to those who still fear you despite knowing? Lorith asked. The Xerathi are already calling for containment protocols. Elena's smile returned, but there was a new edge to it that Lorith hadn't noticed before. Then we'll continue our tradition of asking politely first. Please don't make us mad has served us well so far. In the void of space between Earth and Mars, the quantum ships maintained their vigilant positions around the Vanguard fleet. Aboard the human flagship Possibility, Admiral Pierce received the transmission he'd been waiting for. The consortium has accepted our terms, his communications officer reported. Full membership rights, reclassification as a Class 1 civilization, and amnesty for our previous classification deception. And the Vanguard? Pierce asked. They've agreed to a formal apology and withdrawal. No reparations demanded on either side. Pierce nodded. Signal the fleet to release the quantum locks on their hyperdrives. Allow them to depart with dignity intact. One by one, the reality distortions around the Vanguard ships dissipated. Admiral Pierce opened a final communication channel to the inevitable Dominion. High Admiral Kravix, your fleet is free to depart. The quantum restrictions have been lifted. On the screen, Kravix appeared more composed than during their last exchange. Before we leave, I must know, why the constant warnings? Why always say, please don't make us mad, instead of simply demonstrating your power? Pierce considered the question carefully. Have you ever studied Earth's wildlife, Admiral? What relevance? On our world, Pierce continued, the most dangerous predators rarely display their full capabilities without warning. Rattlesnakes shake their tails before striking. Gorillas beat their chests before charging. Even our smallest venomous creatures often wear bright colors as warnings. You compare yourselves to animals. Kravix seemed confused. We remember our origins, Pierce corrected. The most efficient path is rarely to fight. It's to communicate clear boundaries first. Please don't make us mad isn't a threat, Admiral. It's an evolutionary courtesy. As the Vanguard fleet prepared for departure, news of the resolution spread throughout human territories. In orbit above Earth, Elena Chen's diplomatic vessel docked with the Central Governance Station. President Amara Okafor greeted her with a weary smile. You've had quite the week, Ambassador. We all have, Elena replied. How are people taking the revelation? Mixed reactions, Amara admitted as they walked through the station's diplomatic quarter. Relief that we no longer have to hide. Concern about potential backlash. The Psych Division is monitoring for societal impacts. They entered a secure observation deck overlooking Earth. From this vantage, the planet showed no obvious signs of the advanced civilization it harbored. Oceans remained blue, forests green, deserts gold. The quantum infrastructure that powered humanity's technological marvels remained largely invisible by design. "Do you think they'll ever truly understand us?" Elena asked, gazing at the homeworld. "Perhaps not entirely," Amara answered. "Most species evolved in environments that rewarded aggression and dominance. Earth forced us down a different path. Cooperation against a planet trying to kill us." Elena nodded. "The ultimate evolutionary pressure. And now we have new neighbors to cooperate with," Amara observed. "The question is whether they can adapt to the idea that the most advanced species in known space would rather trade stories than conquer worlds." In the days that followed, humanity's true history entered the consortium's archives. Scholars from dozens of worlds pored over the newly released information about Earth's unique developmental path. The quantum theories that had seemed impossible to other species made perfect sense when viewed through the lens of human scientific evolution. Most fascinating to xenanthropologists was the discovery that humans had possessed the capability to dominate the galaxy for nearly a century before first contact, yet had chosen restraint instead. 6 months after the Vanguard incident, the Galactic Consortium convened a special session. For the first time, Earth hosted representatives from all member species. In a gesture rich with symbolism, the gathering took place not in some sterile space station, but in the restored United Nations headquarters in New York, a building dating back to humanity's earliest attempts at global cooperation. President Amara addressed the assembled diplomats. "We welcome you to Earth not as subjects or supplicants, but as equals in the great cosmic community. Humanity's journey has taught us that true strength lies not in dominance, but in restraint, not in conquest, but in connection." As she spoke, displays around the chamber showed Earth's quantum fleet, now openly patrolling the solar system's boundaries. The message was subtle but clear. Humanity's hand remained extended in friendship, but their capabilities were no longer hidden. In the audience, High Admiral Krevix, now serving as the Vanguard's diplomatic representative in a stunning career pivot, listened with newfound respect. The species he had dismissed as insignificant now represented both the greatest potential threat and the greatest potential ally his civilization had ever encountered. When the formal speeches concluded, he approached Elena Chen at the diplomatic reception. "Ambassador," he acknowledged with the Vanguard gesture of respect. Head tilted, eyes lowered briefly. "I owe you a personal apology." "None necessary, Admiral," she replied. "Cultural misunderstandings are inevitable in galactic relations. Not just for the military action," he clarified. "For dismissing your warnings. I understand now why humans kept saying please." Elena smiled, the genuine expression rather than her diplomatic mask. "And why is that, Admiral?" "Because those with true power rarely need to prove it," he answered. "And those who understand their own strength know the value of using it sparingly." As the galaxy adjusted to the new reality, humanity's catchphrase took on new meaning in diplomatic circles. "Please don't make us mad" was no longer received with amusement, but with the gravity it deserved, not as a threat, but as a courtesy warning from a species that had mastered the art of peace precisely because they understood the terrible alternatives. The universe had learned, perhaps too late for dignity, but just in time to avoid disaster, why the unassuming humans from a death world called Earth always asked nicely first.